I've been thinking about the role of politeness in any successful cult, be it Christian or satanic or whatever. If you've been brought up to be polite, there are a great many things you can't point out or argue with, or even give as good as you get, really. Like if you know somebody's being totally bitchy. I beg your pardon, my lovely Flossie dog. Even when you know that they're being an absolute sodding bitch, politeness kind of forbids you to hit back. And oh boy, there's always a good one to hand. But you remember your upbringing and you think, unless of course you're totally triggered, in which case it all goes to hell. I was tempted to ask, 5 minutes or so ago, if the cat had got a certain person's tongue. Still, those people appear to be on the same side as me, I think. And the point is, quite simply what I say, that good manners and politeness is restrictive. It's very restrictive. It keeps you in that little box. And you just can't speak out and say... I suppose one example would be after I took my first overdose on the 1st of October 1976, the time when my mother didn't come to visit me in hospital. I saw this doctor called Dr. Steinberg. Well, Shrink, actually. And I was in his office for the requisite 50 minutes. Dear God, time dragged and the tension. And he kind of shook my hand and said hello, and I shook his hand and said hello, and then we sat there in complete silence for 50 minutes, because I was waiting for him to speak, and I certainly wasn't going to speak first. And at the end of the session, he said to me, "I'm sure I can help you." Well, had I not been so fucking polite, I would have said, "How the shitting hell can you help me when you have not got a single clue what the problems are?" Because I haven't said a dicky bird. All you know is I took a large amount of an obsolete drug called Tedral, and they couldn't find the antidote, so it was very nearly successful. I can just think of 1,000 occasions like that, really, when you are so very handicapped by this thing called politeness and good manners. I kind of envy the millennials who appear to have been brought up without any of that crap. Perhaps they will do a better job of defending themselves than I have so far in my life. Especially against their parents. When you think about it, there never was freedom of speech, even in little old England, because you could not say exactly what you thought in case, you hurt somebody's feelings, or you get given a present you detest and would fling it out the window at the first opportunity, but you say thank you, isn't that lovely? Not always the case within my family, I have to say. My brother has not forgiven me for such complete and utter trivia. I really must flash up a photograph of myself at 4. But, here he is pushing 69, and he's still really pissed off by the 4-year-old that I was. I've lost my throat again. Oh, it's 5 minutes and the clock's ticking. Oh yeah, pissed off about that trivia. Whatever a sickly child, between the ages of 4 and 6 did. But I remember very, very clearly saving up to buy an ornament, saving all summer to buy an ornament for my mother. It was just before my first baby was born, just before my 21st birthday, and just before my first baby was taken out of my arms. So I was extremely emotional anyway. And I had written a letter to my brother, describing exactly what I was getting my mother. I was so frightened that he might accidentally duplicate. On my 21st birthday, which was some considerable time after my mother's birthday, he sent exactly the same ornament, only twice as big. Whereupon she put it in pride of place and hid mine well away. Now, for many years I did want to ask him why he'd done that, but politeness forbade me to say, "Why did you do such a shitty thing? I specifically asked you not to get that." Well, actually, I know now why he did such a shitty thing, and it's because he's a sadistic bastard like the rest of my Dan family. It's passive aggression when it's not outright sadism. That's been hurting me now for 41 years, nearly. Although you might wonder why the hell I wanted to buy my mother anything at all. Except perhaps, I don't know, a casket for when the time came. So why did you do that, Michael? Bearing in mind that you hold grudges from when I was 4, whatever the hell I did then, and you were, in 1975, 28. Why did you do that? You git.